showcase you guys about this one, about specifically uh, this interface, the process hacker. So I will be kind of saving the process hacker.exe file again on the Google Drive. But again, like even like you can do that, you can install that by your own by searching on Google process hacker, going to the link and downloading that directly. But for easy difference, I'll just store that in the Google Drive. You can download from there. And once you install that, and once you click on this exe file, okay, so you can install that on the window host, and I've already done that. So what you do is that if you click that, it will showcase you guys something like this. Okay. And if you see, the interface is similar to what we are seeing over here, the process hacker. And now we can see that, okay, there are multiple processes that are kind of running right now over here. And it is a totally fresh operating system. There is no malware right now in the system. And what we are seeing is that there are multiple processes running on the host. And what we're also saying is that, okay, let's say this is the winini.exe. Let's say we can quickly see that, okay, if it is kind of malicious or not. Okay. And we see that, okay, it doesn't has any kind of parent process running right now. Similarly, the sms.exe, we can see that, okay, the parent process of that is system.exe. And if we click on that, we can get further details about that process. Okay. Like threads, token, and memory. What you can also do is that click on options. Let me just go over here and I'll say run as administrator. It should actually run as administrator. Let me just quickly right click and run as administrator. It should now run as admin mode. And I'll tell you guys that always kind of run the process hacker in kind of, let's say, admin mode. And the one you just saw, the red line that was there, that means that that process is almost about to exit. That process is trying to exit running. Okay. So similarly, what I was telling is that, let's say sms.exe. Okay. And now you see that since I ran that on the with an admin mode, I can see a lot of other details about that host, about that process. Okay. Like it's like its memory image, like what all things are there in that memory image. It's heap, it is stack, a lot of our details. Similarly, the tokens, what all privilege that process had. So if you say over here, like these are all the privilege that process currently has, and all this privilege is something, everything has kind of a little bit importance. We'll try to look at that later. And then what are files, or let's say what are files that that process is trying to kind of access. So we can kind of look at all those details over here. Okay. So overall, I just want to kind of give you an idea that how the process hacker will be really useful. So let's say any malware is running, you can quickly see from here, like what is the parent process and all. And if you, let's say, if you want to terminate any of this exe, you can just click terminate over here. So right now, if I terminate this sms.exe, maybe my computer will be turned off, because these are core window process, and it will lead to kind of the system not turning on, and maybe it will kind of turn off immediately if I terminate this exe file. And to terminate any kind of exe file, what you also need to do is that, let's say I open Notepad, for example, Notepad. So if you see Notepad is running, and if you want to search that, so if you see Notepad is over here, the PID value, the ID value of that process is 2600, and it is the child of Explorer.exe, what you're seeing over here. And the Explorer.exe parent ID is 1640. Okay. Now, if I want to terminate this, I can also kind of terminate from here. I'll terminate, and the process will done. If you see, the Notepad.exe has been terminated. Okay. So This process hacker.exe is quite handy, and it has multiple other features than the normal task manager that we have. Okay, task manager is not that handy to kind of use, but process hacker is really useful. Okay, you can also look at the network communication that is kind of happening right now, even without executing the netstat command. So you can see at the local port number, the remote IP addresses, and all. Let's say what all services are running right now on the host. You can kind of look at that. Even in the disk part, I'm not sure, but yeah, it says like, okay, what all files, all this process is kind of, let's say, any process kind of accessing. So you can look at that. Okay. Now, that's one more thing is that if you click over here, I think, yeah, if you do a right click on this row and if you select choose columns, you can then kind of like, let's say, you can kind of collect, you can see, if you can see in this type part, there are a lot of information that you can gather for any kind of process. Okay, from here. So let's say if I select ASLR, I keep it over here and click OK. Now you will see that, okay, ASLR, there is a column called ASLR that is showing up for all this process. Can any of you guys kind of let me know what this ASLR is? Any idea? Any guess? If not, that's fine. So it's actually called as address space layout randomization. Okay, ASLR. And this is one of the thing that is very necessary when you are very necessary to know when you are, let's say, you are as a red team. You want to understand how attacker attack a system, how they exploit a vulnerability in a system. In that case, we need to know more about like ASLR, what that ASLR. So ASLR is actually a kind of protection that window operating system provides to any of the process kind of running on the host. So let's say you are running one of your software on the host that you have created, and let's say it has a bug in that. Okay, it has a bug in that, which then that bug might lead to any attacker getting remote access to the system. Okay, so there can be similar kind of bug in any kind of process kind of that is running over here. Okay, and it's not always possible for the developer to kind of know, okay, what all bugs are there or what all vulnerabilities are there. Okay, so to avoid that situation, Windows has a security mechanism. If that security mechanism is turned on, what it will do is that even though there is some kind of bug in the, let's say, notepad.exe, uh, an attacker will not be able to kind of exploit that vulnerability, okay, easily. There are different ways to kind of avoid, kind of evade that kind of detection. Maybe I'll kind of share that little bit details when I'll kind of sharing the about the vulnerability part or the how the exploit work in background. So these all things are there, like a lot of things I want to kind of share is that you can kind of get a lot of details just by using the process hacker. So that's the kind of intention why kind of I'm showcasing this process hacker. And when, let's say, if uh, we can also kind of, let's say, we can also turn off the ASLR for any of the host. Okay, and to kind of understand how the exploit work and all. But definitely it's called address space layout randomization, and what it does is that if this ASLR is kind of, let's say, turned on, every, like, let's say this process, and if you go to the memory part, and if you see that, okay, this file is mapped to 06000 base address on the RAM memory. Maybe next time you run that, and what will happen is that, let's say, this base address will be different. Okay, maybe the address will be different, and so this is what actually ASLR does. It actually randomizes the base address of any kind of thing that is kind of loaded. So every process has their stack memory, their heap memory. So what this ASLR will do is that every time you run the host, maybe what